Every morning you awaken with a choice. Before the world speaks to you, before fear, doubt, or distraction enters your mind, there is a quiet moment where you decide who you are going to be. Most people begin their day reacting to life. But the truth is, your life does not begin on the outside. It begins within you. The thoughts you accept, the feelings you entertain, and the assumptions you carry become the reality you walk into. So today, do not rise as the old version of yourself. Rise as the person you desire to become. Feel the confidence, feel the peace, feel the success. Because the moment you change your inner state, the outer world must respond. This morning is not ordinary. This morning is the beginning of a new self. Every day of your life begins in the unseen. Before anything appears in your physical world, it first takes shape within your mind. Most people believe their outer circumstances create their feelings, but the truth is the opposite. Your feelings, assumptions, and dominant inner conversations are constantly shaping the reality you experience. The world around you is not separate from you. It is a reflection of the state of consciousness you consistently occupy. This is why two people can face the same situation and experience completely different outcomes. One expects opportunity and sees doors open everywhere. The other expects disappointment and unconsciously notices only obstacles. Life responds not merely to actions, but to the inner state from which those actions come. The moment you wake up in the morning, your mind begins creating. If your first thoughts are filled with worry, fear, stress, or limitation, you are already impressing those conditions upon your subconscious mind. You begin moving through the day with tension, expecting problems before they even arrive. Then, when difficulties appear, you call it coincidence, not realizing you emotionally aligned yourself with those experiences hours earlier. But imagine beginning your morning differently. Imagine waking up and deliberately choosing peace before the world demands your attention. Imagine deciding that today will support you, favor you, and move you closer to your desires. That inner decision changes the energy you carry into every moment. Your subconscious mind does not judge whether your thoughts are good or bad. It simply accepts what you repeatedly feel to be true. If you constantly say, "Nothing ever works out for me," your mind accepts that as an instruction. If you continually dwell on rejection, lack, or failure, your subconscious works faithfully to reproduce those conditions in your experience. But when you begin assuming success, abundance, confidence, and love, something powerful happens within you. Your perception changes, your reactions change, your expectations change. And eventually, your outer world begins reflecting this transformation back to you. Most people try to change their life by forcing external action while ignoring the inner world that produces those actions. They chase validation, money, relationships, and success without first becoming internally aligned with those realities. But you cannot consistently experience outwardly what you refuse to feel inwardly. If you desire abundance but secretly identify with lack, you will continue pushing prosperity away. If you desire love but internally believe you are unworthy, you will struggle to receive the love you seek. Your outer world always mirrors your inner identity. This is why mental discipline is so important. You must become aware of the conversations happening within you every day. What are you repeatedly telling yourself? What emotional state are you nurturing each morning? Are you rehearsing victory or failure? Are you imagining possibilities or limitations? The mind is always creating images, and those images influence your emotional state. Your emotional state then shapes the experiences you attract and recognize. Nothing changes until the inner picture changes first. Do not underestimate the power of imagination. Every achievement, every invention, Every transformation first existed as an invisible idea held in someone's consciousness. The life you desire must become emotionally real within you before it can become physically real around you. This means you cannot spend your mornings consumed by fear and still expect peace to dominate your day. You cannot repeatedly affirm defeat and expect victory to appear. Your inner world is the blueprint. Your outer world is simply the delayed reflection. The beautiful truth is that you are not trapped by your current circumstances. No matter what happened yesterday, you can choose a new state today. The past only continues repeating itself when you continue identifying with it internally. But the moment you assume a new identity, you begin changing your future. If you have been living in discouragement, choose confidence. If you have been living in fear, choose faith. If you have been living in limitation, begin imagining expansion. Your mind responds to repetition, emotion, and belief. Feed it a new vision consistently, and eventually your reality will reorganize around it. Every morning is an opportunity to plant new seeds in consciousness. Before checking your phone, before listening to negative voices, before reacting to the world, spend a few moments creating intentionally within yourself. Feel gratitude for the life that is unfolding. Feel confidence in the person you are becoming. Feel peace as though everything is already working in your favor. These emotions are not fantasies. They are creative forces shaping your future experience. Never forget this truth. The outer world is not the cause. It is the effect. The real cause is always within you. Change the inner state, and the outer reflection must eventually change. Hold the vision. Protect your mind. Choose your assumptions carefully. And as you walk through your day, remember that every thought and feeling is contributing to the world you are creating. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing they must wait for physical evidence before they allow themselves to feel successful, loved, secure, or fulfilled. They look at their current circumstances and use them as permission to either believe or doubt. But true transformation begins when you stop reacting to appearances and start living inwardly from the reality you desire. The secret is not in hoping your life will change someday. The secret is assuming the feeling of your wish already fulfilled right now. This inner shift changes everything. Most people spend their lives chasing. They chase money while feeling poor. They chase love while feeling lonely. They chase success while secretly feeling inadequate. And because they continue identifying with the absence of what they desire, they remain emotionally connected to lack. The outer world then faithfully reflects that state back to them again and again. But the moment you begin feeling inwardly, as though your desire is already yours, you move into a completely different state of consciousness. You stop begging life to change, and you begin embodying the version of yourself who already possesses the reality you seek. Living from the wish fulfilled does not mean pretending the outer world does not exist. It means refusing to let temporary appearances define your inner identity. It means understanding that the unseen always comes before the seen. A builder does not begin construction without first holding the image of the finished structure in mind. In the same way, your subconscious mind responds to the emotional conviction of already being the person you want to become. When you feel the reality internally, you impress that state upon your deeper mind, and your external life begins organizing itself around that assumption. Think about how differently you would move through life if your desire were already fulfilled. If you truly felt successful, would you walk in fear all day? If you truly felt loved, would you constantly seek validation from others? If you truly felt abundant, would you wake every morning consumed by worry? The fulfilled version of you thinks differently, reacts differently, and carries a completely different energy. This is why you must stop postponing the feeling until after manifestation appears. The feeling is the cause, not the result. Many people misunderstand this principle because they focus only on forced affirmations or empty words. But living from the wish fulfilled is deeper than repeating phrases mechanically. It is entering the emotional atmosphere of your desire. It is feeling natural in the state you want to experience. You do not need to force excitement or become emotionally overwhelmed. In fact, the most powerful state often feels calm, certain, and normal. When something truly belongs to you, you no longer struggle to believe in it. You simply know it. Imagine waking up each morning with the quiet confidence that your life is unfolding perfectly. Imagine carrying yourself throughout the day with the certainty that opportunities are coming, relationships are aligning, and success is already yours internally. That state changes your entire perception of reality. You begin noticing possibilities instead of obstacles. You respond with faith instead of fear. You stop obsessing over when and how, because you already feel connected to the end result within yourself. The outer world may not change instantly, and this is where many people lose faith. They return to old thinking because they do not see immediate evidence. But seeds planted beneath the soil are invisible before they become visible. The unseen process does not mean nothing is happening. Reality is constantly responding to your dominant state of consciousness, even when you cannot yet perceive the movement. Persistence is essential. You must remain loyal to the new version of yourself even when appearances tempt you to doubt. Do not allow temporary circumstances to pull you back into old emotional patterns. If you react emotionally to every delay, every setback, or every unfavorable condition, you continue recreating the same reality. Instead, return inwardly to the fulfilled state again and again. Feel the peace of already having what you desire. Feel the relief. Feel the confidence. Feel the gratitude. These emotions impress your subconscious more deeply than struggle or desperation ever could. There is incredible power in inner conviction. When you truly accept something within yourself, your behavior changes naturally without force. You begin making decisions from confidence instead of fear. Your conversations become different. Your energy becomes different. Even your presence changes because you are no longer emotionally identified with lack. You become aligned with fulfillment internally first, and eventually the outer world reflects that alignment. The life you desire is not created by endless wishing. It is created by occupying the state of the person who already has it. Stop looking at your present circumstances as final. Stop allowing appearances to determine your mood, your identity, or your expectations. Instead, enter the feeling of the wish fulfilled every single day. Walk as though it is already done. Think from the end instead of toward it. Feel the reality internally before it appears externally. The version of you who already has peace, abundance, confidence, love, and success exists now within your imagination. That version is not separate from you. It is a state you can choose. And the more consistently you live from that state, the more your outer world will begin reflecting it back to you. The first moments of your morning are far more powerful than most people realize. When you first wake up, your mind is highly impressionable. The conscious mind is quiet, and the subconscious is open, receptive, and ready to accept whatever thoughts and feelings you entertain. This is why the way you begin your morning matters so deeply. Before the world speaks to you, before distractions fill your attention, before fear and pressure attempt to claim your mind, there is a sacred opportunity to choose the direction of your day. Most people waste this moment unconsciously. They wake up and immediately feed their minds with worry, stress, bad news, social media, or thoughts of limitation. Then they wonder why anxiety, frustration, and disappointment continue following them. But your morning thoughts are seeds, and whatever you plant emotionally will eventually grow into experiences. Every thought carries energy. Every assumption creates movement within consciousness. When you repeatedly begin your mornings with fear, you condition your mind to expect problems. You unconsciously prepare yourself for struggle before the day even begins. Your emotional state influences how you interpret conversations, opportunities, and circumstances throughout the day. A mind filled with negativity notices more negativity. A mind trained in fear expects rejection, delay, and failure. This is why guarding your morning thoughts is not just a motivational idea. It is a spiritual and psychological discipline that shapes your reality. The world constantly competes for your attention because attention is creative power. Whatever consistently occupies your mind eventually influences your emotions, your beliefs, and your identity. If the first thing you do every morning is consume negativity, you are allowing the outside world to decide your inner state. But the moment you intentionally take control of your thoughts, you reclaim your power. You stop living as a victim of circumstances and begin living as the creator of your experience. Imagine beginning each day with deliberate intention instead of reaction. Instead of reaching for your phone and absorbing chaos, you pause for a moment and become aware of your inner world. You remind yourself that this day does not have to repeat yesterday. You choose thoughts that align with peace, confidence, abundance, and success. You mentally rehearse victory instead of failure. You feel gratitude before evidence appears. That inner shift changes the atmosphere of your entire day because your outer experiences often mirror the emotional state you carry within. Most people underestimate repetition. They think one negative thought does not matter. But repeated thoughts become beliefs, and beliefs become assumptions that shape reality. If every morning begins with, "I'm tired," nothing changes. "Life is hard," or "today will probably go wrong," those statements gradually become accepted truths within the subconscious mind. The subconscious does not argue with what you repeatedly feel and affirm. It simply accepts the message and works to reflect it outwardly. But imagine replacing those patterns with thoughts like, "Everything is working in my favor. Today brings new opportunities. I am guided, supported, and capable," or "My life is changing for the better." Over time, these thoughts begin creating a completely different inner environment. This does not mean ignoring challenges or pretending difficulties do not exist. It means refusing to emotionally surrender to negativity before your day even begins. Your morning mindset influences the lens through which you interpret everything else. Two people can experience the same event, yet react completely differently because of the state they entered the day in. One sees obstacles and defeat, the other sees lessons and opportunities. The outer event may be identical, but the inner state changes the experience entirely. Protecting your morning thoughts also means becoming selective about what enters your mind. Not every voice deserves access to your consciousness. Not every opinion deserves emotional importance. If you allow fear-based conversations, toxic environments, and constant negativity to dominate your mornings, they will slowly influence your assumptions about yourself and life. But when you intentionally feed your mind with empowering thoughts, silence, prayer, visualization, gratitude, or uplifting ideas, you strengthen the state you wish to embody. Your imagination is especially powerful in the morning because the mind naturally drifts between conscious awareness and subconscious receptivity. Use this time wisely. See yourself as the person you desire to become. Feel the emotions of confidence, peace, abundance, and fulfillment before stepping into the world. Do not wait for external proof to justify inner peace. Generate the feeling first. The emotional state you cultivate in the morning becomes the foundation upon which the rest of your day is built. There is a reason many people feel trapped in repetitive cycles. They keep waking up with the same assumptions, the same emotional patterns, and the same inner conversations. Then they expect a different outcome. But change begins when you interrupt the old mental routine. The moment you become conscious of your morning thoughts, you begin breaking the cycle. You stop unconsciously recreating the past and start intentionally creating a new future. Every sunrise gives you another opportunity to redefine yourself internally. Do not enter the day carelessly. Do not hand your mind over to fear, distraction, or negativity. Guard your thoughts carefully because they are shaping your reality whether you realize it or not. Choose thoughts that strengthen you. Choose assumptions that empower you. Choose emotions that align with the life you desire. And as you consistently master your inner world each morning, you will begin noticing your outer world changing in ways you once thought impossible. There is a hidden force within every human being that shapes the direction of life more than circumstances, talent, or effort ever could. That force is feeling. Most people spend their lives trying to change the outer world through action alone, while ignoring the emotional state that silently controls their experiences. They repeat positive words while internally feeling fear. They pray for success while emotionally identifying with failure. They desire love while feeling unworthy within themselves. But words without feeling carry little creative power. It is feeling that impresses the subconscious mind. It is feeling that gives life to thought. And it is feeling that ultimately shapes the reality you experience. Your subconscious mind responds not merely to what you say, but to what you emotionally accept as true. You can repeat affirmations all day long, but if your dominant emotional state is doubt, fear, frustration, or hopelessness, those feelings become the stronger message. The subconscious is deeply influenced by emotion because emotion signals belief. What you consistently feel to be true becomes impressed upon the deeper mind and eventually reflected outwardly in your life. This is why two people can speak the same words but experience completely different results. One speaks from inner conviction, while the other speaks from desperation. The feeling behind the thought makes all the difference. Think about moments in your life when you felt intense fear. Even before anything happened physically, your body reacted emotionally as though the experience were already real. Your heartbeat changed, your breathing changed, your focus changed. The mind and body responded to feeling. In the same way, when you intentionally generate feelings of confidence, peace, success, gratitude, or love, you begin shifting your internal state into alignment with those experiences. The subconscious cannot fully distinguish between a vividly felt inner experience and an outer physical event. This is why imagination combined with emotion becomes so powerful. Most people have been conditioned to believe that feelings are reactions to life. They think they must wait for success before feeling successful, wait for love before feeling loved, or wait for abundance before feeling secure. But this keeps them trapped in endless dependence on external conditions. The truth is that feelings are creative forces, not merely reactions. The emotional state you repeatedly occupy influences your perception, behavior, energy, decisions, and expectations. Eventually, your outer experiences begin reflecting those inner patterns back to you. If you wake up every day feeling defeated, life begins looking heavy and difficult. Opportunities appear limited. Challenges feel overwhelming. Even small setbacks seem like confirmation that nothing works in your favor. But when you cultivate feelings of faith, certainty, gratitude, and inner stability, you begin moving through life differently. You notice possibilities instead of limitations. You respond calmly instead of emotionally reacting. You become aligned with a completely different reality because your emotional state changes the lens through which you experience life. This is why protecting your emotional atmosphere is so important. Many people allow fear, negativity, anger, and discouragement to dominate their inner world without realizing the creative impact these emotions have. Every feeling sustained over time strengthens a particular state of consciousness. If you constantly feel unworthy, you unconsciously attract experiences that reinforce that identity. If you consistently feel rejected, you begin interpreting life through that emotional filter. But the beautiful truth is that emotional states can be changed deliberately. You do not need to wait for perfect circumstances to feel differently. You can begin now. You can choose to feel gratitude before the blessing arrives. You can choose confidence before external success appears. You can choose peace while the world around you still looks uncertain. This is not denial. This is mastery of consciousness. It is understanding that your inner world influences your outer experience far more than you may realize. One of the most powerful practices is learning to emotionally rehearse the life you desire. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the version of yourself who already has what you seek. How would that version of you feel? Calm, secure, joyful, free, successful, loved. Instead of focusing only on visual images, focus on the emotional reality of already being that person. Feel the relief of knowing it is done. Feel the gratitude. Feel the certainty. These emotions begin impressing a new identity upon your subconscious mind. The key is naturalness. You do not need forced excitement or exaggerated emotion. In fact, the most powerful feeling is often quiet certainty. When something truly feels natural to you, resistance disappears. You stop trying to convince yourself because the state already feels internally accepted. This is why repetition matters. The more often you return to the feeling of your desired reality, the more familiar and believable it becomes within you. Never underestimate the power of emotional persistence. Even when outer circumstances seem unchanged, continue returning to the state you wish to embody. Do not allow temporary appearances to control your feelings. Most people abandon their inner transformation too early because they become discouraged by visible conditions. But reality often shifts internally before it becomes visible externally. Stay faithful to the feeling. Remain loyal to the version of yourself you are becoming. At every moment, you are emotionally agreeing with a certain reality. The question is, what are you agreeing with? Fear or faith? Limitation or abundance? Defeat or possibility? Your feelings are constantly shaping your experience. They are silently influencing your future. Once you understand this, you stop living carelessly within your mind and emotions. You begin choosing your inner state deliberately. Feeling is not weakness. Feeling is creative power. It is the invisible force that breathes life into thought and transforms imagination into experience. Master your feelings, and you begin mastering the direction of your life. One of the greatest illusions people live under is the belief that they must someday become worthy of the life they desire. They believe success is far away, peace is distant, confidence belongs to someone else, and fulfillment exists somewhere in the future. So they spend years chasing a better version of themselves without realizing that transformation does not begin by forcing the outer world to change. It begins by recognizing that the person you desire to become already exists within you as a state of consciousness, waiting to be accepted. The moment you internally claim that identity, your life begins moving in a new direction. Most people identify themselves through past experiences, failures, disappointments, and limitations. They wake up each day carrying old stories about who they are. I'm not confident. I never succeed. Nothing changes for me. I'm always struggling. Over time, these assumptions become identities. And once an identity feels natural, life continuously reflects it back. This is why many people remain trapped in repeating cycles. They are trying to create a new life while emotionally remaining loyal to an old version of themselves. But the truth is, your current identity is not fixed. It is simply a collection of thoughts, assumptions, feelings, and beliefs repeated long enough to feel real. The person you are today was shaped by the states you consistently occupied yesterday. And if your present identity was created through repetition and belief, then a new identity can be created the same way. You are not limited to the version of yourself produced by past experiences. You can choose a different state now. The version of you that already has peace, confidence, abundance, love, and purpose is not separate from you. It already exists within your imagination. The problem is not that your desired self is unavailable. The problem is that you continue identifying with the old self. You continue thinking from limitation while hoping for expansion. You continue emotionally agreeing with fear while praying for confidence. As long as you remain internally loyal to the old identity, the outer world continues reflecting it. Transformation begins the moment you stop asking, "How do I become this person?" and start asking, "What would life feel like if I already were this person?" That question shifts your focus from chasing to embodying. The confident version of you already thinks differently. The peaceful version of you already reacts differently. The abundant version of you already carries a different emotional atmosphere. When you begin entering that state inwardly, you start changing from the inside out. Most people wait for external proof before changing their self-concept. They think, once I become successful, then I'll feel confident. But it works the opposite way. Confidence must come first internally. The outer world eventually reflects the state you consistently embody. This is why self-concept is so powerful. The way you see yourself determines what feels possible, what you tolerate, what you expect, and what you unconsciously attract into your experience. Imagine waking up tomorrow fully convinced that you are already the person you desire to become. How differently would you walk, speak, think, and respond? Would you continue doubting every opportunity? Would you continue fearing rejection? Would you continue speaking negatively about yourself? Probably not. Your behavior would naturally begin changing because identity influences action. When you internally accept a new version of yourself, your outer choices start aligning with that state without force. This does not mean you become arrogant or unrealistic. It means you stop defining yourself by temporary circumstances. A difficult season does not define who you are. A past failure does not define your future. Other people's opinions do not determine your identity. The only identity that truly shapes your experience is the one you consistently accept within yourself. If you continue calling yourself weak, lost, unlucky, or unworthy, your subconscious mind will work to reinforce those assumptions. But if you begin seeing yourself as capable, valuable, blessed, and powerful, a new reality starts forming internally. The process requires persistence because old identities do not disappear overnight. The mind tends to return to familiar patterns. There will be moments when old doubts attempt to resurface. Old emotional habits may try to reclaim your attention. But every time you consciously return to the new identity, you strengthen it. Every time you refuse to emotionally identify with limitation, you weaken the old state. Over time, the new version of yourself begins feeling more natural than the old one ever did. Stop waiting for the world to give you permission to become who you truly desire to be. The permission must come from within. You do not need to earn your future identity through struggle alone. You step into it by accepting it internally first. This is why imagination is so powerful. In imagination, you can experience the reality of your desired self before the outer world catches up. And as you repeatedly occupy that state emotionally, it begins influencing your actions, your reactions, your decisions, and eventually your circumstances. Every day, you are either reinforcing an old identity or building a new one. Every thought you repeat, every emotion you sustain, and every assumption you accept contributes to the person you become. So choose carefully. Refuse to keep telling the old story about yourself. Stop introducing yourself internally as the version you no longer wish to be. You are not becoming a new person someday in the future. The new version already exists within you now. Your task is not to create it from nothing, but to recognize it, accept it, and live from it daily. The moment you truly embody that identity inwardly, your outer world will begin transforming to reflect it. As you move through this day, remember this: you are not powerless against life. You are the operant power behind it. Every thought you repeat, every feeling you nurture, and every assumption you hold is shaping your future in this very moment. Stop looking outside for permission to believe in yourself. Stop waiting for the world to change before you do. Become inwardly what you desire outwardly, and life will mirror it back to you. Walk today with certainty. Walk today with faith in the unseen. The version of you that already has the peace, abundance, love, and success you seek is not far away. It exists within you now. Claim it, feel it, live from it, and watch your world transform. Thank you for listening and spending these moments investing in your mind, your spirit, and your future. If this message spoke to your heart, carry it with you throughout the day and return to it every morning until it becomes your natural way of thinking and feeling. Remember, the life you desire begins within you first. Stay consistent, stay faithful to your vision, and never underestimate the power of your imagination. Have a beautiful, powerful, and intentional day ahead.